let's go to the phones. Let's see, who do I have here? Let's go to Patricia in Indiana. Welcome to the program, Patricia.
Hi, Adya.
Hi.
Wow. I was going to try to call on this topic, and you opened with the topic.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
I'll be darned.
And after the huge experience 3 years ago, you were the only person that explained or suggested how I should proceed from that experience. So
Yeah.
much gratitude.
No, thank you.
The practice, which isn't really... Oh, I can see you now.
Oh.
The practice, which is no longer a practice,
Yeah.
really, resting as awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The experience, there was a vast, tangible presence.
Yes.
Very tangible, that has never left.
Yeah.
And resting in awareness is that.
Yes.
But the void experience,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to call it an experience,
Yeah, it's hard to even talk about it, isn't it?
there was no me there.
Right.
There was no consciousness there.
Yes.
And that's source.
Yes. Yes.
I know that.
Yes. There's no identity there at all.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing. Except, like you said, the creative, the primordial, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's no love there.
It's beyond love, yes. It's
love.
before love. Love is what comes out of...
Consciousness.
Yes. Love is what comes out of that primordial void. It's an expression of it. But in and of itself, of course, it's quality-less. Right? The primordial void has no qualities, not even love.
Does anyone find that terrifying?
Does any... The question is does anyone not find it terrifying?
Okay, and then terror fills the space of awareness, and is that?
Yes.
Is this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
how does one...
Wouldn't it be great if I could give you a great, concise little instruction manual for this, Patricia?
Yeah, okay.
Of course, when really one touches upon this sort of primordial void, it's very common that it elicits great anxiety, sometimes, of course, fear, and very often even terror.
3 years.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's not uncommon.
Working on 20.
Yeah. And really, ultimately what it comes down to, what I've seen, what it comes down to is in the face of that fear,
Yes.
of that fear of annihilation, because really it's what it is.
Yeah.
You're confronting
Really,
annihilation.
Yes.
Right. And it's completely unknown, right? It's a completely and absolutely unknown territory.
And it can't be known.
Right, that's the whole thing. It can't be known, and it can't be sought after, it can't even be wanted, it can't be anything.
And it's there all the time.
Right, and it's there all the time. So that's kind of what lurks in the essence of everyone.
And everything.
And everything.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Got it.
When your eyes start to really open, you can literally, you can intuit this primordial void in everything you look at.
Yes.
Yes, so there it's like you're living in it.
Yes.
And in that is sort of the very root sense of one's identity. And by root sense, now I'm not just talking about like egoic identity.
I know.
I'm talking about an identity that's much deeper than that. It's just sort of this irrational holding.
Yes.
That's really our root sense of self, is just a sort of irrational grasping. That's why when people kind of feel into their most rudimentary or existential sense of self, it's deeper than their mind, it's deeper than their emotions. It's that sort of clench in the gut, right?
Yeah.
And when you come upon this sort of primordial void, even the intuition of it, it'll often cause this kind of this terror in the gut.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the difficulty, of course, as a spiritual teacher is a lot of things you can kind of guide people through. This one,
Oh,
It's not quite that simple. This one requires something extraordinarily simple, Patricia. It requires, in the face of that fear, in the face of that intuition of a type of annihilation, all it requires is a yes. And the yes.
Why did I know you were?
It's totally irrational. There's no reason to say yes, is there?
Well, there's no conscious. It won't work.
And you can't create this yes. That's why I say.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yes, that's it. Because that's why I say, as a teacher, this becomes more. At least I have. You can't give a nice, concise spiritual teaching about it because you can't create the kind of yes I'm talking about. You can't manufacture it.
Well, how exhausted does one have to get?
That's the question. It's different for everybody. How exhausted do you have to get?
If I had a vote, I would tell you.
Yeah. I mean, in other words, what I'm saying is there's no such thing as how exhausted you need to get. There's no line of or amount of exhaustion or resistance that needs to become. It's just. See, what I'm speaking about, Patricia, it's literally, it's already there. It's already, what I'm talking, this yes, it's already in you. It's like anything else, you just recognize it. Where you find it is right in the middle of the no. Right in the middle of, I'm terrified. I have this sort of just completely irrational terror that I will be, completely destroyed, annihilated. Right in the middle of that, if you were to, how could we say, go into or stop is kind of the same thing in the context I'm talking about. If you were to kind of go really right into the middle of it, but then of your own fear, but then didn't stop anywhere along the way, because fear tends to make us kind of brace and stop, doesn't it? Hold back. But if you were to just completely go all the way in right into the middle of it, that's where that yes is. That's where the recognition is. Something just for no reason, not even because you're tired or exhausted, you just realize, wow, there is a yes. And it's the simplest, quietest, smallest little yes there is. There's nothing courageous or big about it. It's just a sort of a fact that you just discover. Oh, there's a yes to this. And so when that intuition of fear and non-existence comes up, that little thing in you is just kind of going, yes. So it's a matter of becoming conscious of it more than trying to make it. Because it's something that you could never, ever, ever, ever make.
But it's there anyway.
But it's there. It's there. Yeah. And sometimes for some people I find when they begin to notice that there is that yes, that can scare them. Like, oh my God, there is a yes.
No.
You see, but...
That would be fine.
Yeah, and then other people actually find it as a great relief. Like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, because it's like I said, it's not like there's a vote, so...
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that.
You can feel that?
Yeah.
Right. That's...
But
what?
There's still a but.
Yeah. What's the but?
Okay. Can I call back sometime about the same topic?
Sure, you can call back any time about the same topic.
Even to hear you say the same thing?
Of course. My goodness, I mean, most of us, we hear the same thing 10, 20, 100 times, 500 times until it sinks in. So number of times is often what this is all about, right?
If all this has been seen,
yeah,
and then where's the clarity, the big love?
The big love?
Only after the yes?
Well, see,
you know what I mean. Not
I
love,
do.
like,
I know what you. Yes, I know what you mean.
I can feel. That's truth for me.
Yes. yeah. From the non-existence, you see, from the primordial void. The primordial void, funny enough, that's where the greatest embrace of the yes to life happens. And that embrace, that yes that comes from the void, that's the greatest love you ever find. That's the funny thing about this, because right in the middle of non-existence, you don't expect to find a yes or love.
Right.
But that's where it's birthed from.
And that's been the... Okay.
See, the problem is we keep looking for this love first. Like, I could let go if there was a great big warm embrace waiting for me. But all I get is this great big cold, infinite, void that seems to want to annihilate me.
It was a shock. Yeah.
Right, and I'm waiting for it to be warm and cozy. And all I can say is, it gets warm and cozy once the annihilation's happened.
I don't care if it's cold and icy, as long as it's recognized as that. There's no adjectives. That love.
Yeah. Yes, the love with no edges, that great impersonal agape love.
Yeah.
The real agape love, which is a total unconditional love of what is.
As your prelude song says, when you become the song.
Yes. Yeah. You become the song. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
And it's there in that void.
It's there in the void. Everything's there. Because that's the point of Genesis. That's where everything arises from.
I know. But right? I wasn't there, so I couldn't find it.
That's right.
There.
That's right.
So the ego and the philosophical, metaphysical brain assumed, okay.
Right. Don't want to go there where I won't be when I get there.
Well, as long as the love's there, it's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you surely have other callers.
Well, this is a great one to start with.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
Thank you, and if nothing else, along with resting as awareness, I'll be waiting to feel the space that's not a space of the yes.
Great. And will you let me know?
I'm going to trust you and hold you to it.
Okay.
There's love in the nothingness.
Yes. Love is what arises out of the nothingness. Okay? The nothingness is beyond, in and of itself. It's the source. It's the genesis point for love and for everything else for that matter. But in and of itself, it's transcendent of every experience you could ever have. It's not any of those. But it's sort of one of its first expressions is love. I mean, that's what creation is. Creation is...
Can it not have that first expression?
No.
Okay.
The nature of the void is to express itself.
I figured that out.
Always.
I mean, look around.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Yeah, that's not like philosophical or theological. It's like, there it is. It's all around us. There's the inexpressible expression of the void, of that which is more nothing than even our greatest ideas of nothing could ever be. And the funny thing is, here you and I are right now, and everything that we're talking about is literally, it's already what we are. We actually are this primordial void expressing itself as consciousness and love and all that.
You know, there's this expression and that expression and the next expression.
Yes. That's part of the fun, too.
And you see it all as love, and I don't quite, so the ego's still there.
Yeah. Well, I would...
Well, I mean, of course it's there. It's an expression, too, but it's still a little too... dominant.
You see, it's, at least for me, it was the bottom line, Patricia. It was, I just had to know.
Yeah.
It was like, for me personally, when I got to this point, I didn't care what the ultimate reality was going to end up to be. Good, bad, horrible, neutral. I just had to know.
Yeah, I still care, but
yes.
I also got to know.
Yes. It's not that you don't care, but it's just that inextricable, almost, unexplainable.
What are we here for?
Yeah.
It must be this.
What's really going on? What's it really all about? And you can't enter the deepest thing within. You can't enter the deepest place with any preconditions. Like, I'll let go if it's loving. That's just enough precondition to where you'll just sort of stay outside of it and be really afraid. So you kind of enter it on its own terms. And then you find out.
There is understanding here, honest.
Pardon me?
There is understanding here.
Yes, I know. There's just something that completes itself when there is when there's total cooperation. When all the various levels of our self, of our identity, they all sort of just line up for a moment, and they're all in cooperation with what we've been speaking about. And that really makes all the difference.
I believe you.
Because you know what I'm speaking about.
I do.
This is not, what I'm speaking about is not outside of your experience. It's just that your knowing of it is moving in the direction of really completing itself, right? But you know this. Because you get those foretastes and those experiences and those intuitions, and it's all there for you, isn't it?
It's all there. It's just not seen, felt, sensed with clarity.
Yeah, right.
But it's known.
Yeah. So let me know how it goes, will you?
I will.
Give me a ring back.
Thank you so much.
Oh, great to talk with you. Thanks for calling in.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I am going to go to Uma in California. Welcome, Uma.
Hi.
Hi, did I get your name right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, welcome. What'd you call for?
Thank you. What did I call for?
Yeah.
My question is, at the retreat last week, you were talking about how most of the spiritual practice that people do is actually putting them to sleep instead of waking them up.
Oftentimes it can do that, yeah.
And so my question is...
Including what I teach, people can use it to put themselves to sleep or to wake themselves up,
right.
Either way.
So I was wondering if you could talk about that, and for myself, I wonder how I can tell which one I'm doing, and if there's any, obvious road map signs, or you could just say something more about that.
Yeah. Well, it all comes back to this comes back to your sincerity. If we really want to know what's really real, if we really want to know what we really are and what's really, really real here, what's really going on, that's all that's necessary. If that's what you really want to know, if that's what's really in your heart, that you may not state it in exactly the way I just stated it, but if somewhere that's really what it's all about, then everything will serve you, actually. And if you have another agenda, which it could be, what's the most, every human being just wants to feel good, don't they?
Right.
Given the choice, most anybody that's rational would choose to feel better than worse. But it's very easy for this sort of desire to feel good to completely hijack your whole spiritual process, and your whole spiritual process becomes about how can I use each and every teaching from whoever the teacher is, whatever the tradition is, how can I use it to make myself feel better? And that's not bad, and that's not even wrong, but if that's our highest goal, is to feel better, although everybody wants to feel better, and that's fine. But if that becomes our highest intention, our highest goal, then it's going to limit us.
So are you saying that, let's say I'm doing a practice that happens to bring about feelings of joy and peace and equanimity and bliss and all that, so that could either be, it depends what my intention is, whether that feeling of peace is just a feeling better type of feeling that's going to dead end me or not.
Yeah. It's not, like I said, it's not bad that you feel peace or happy or, really, really open. That's wonderful. But, again, everything literally does, it follows your intention. That's what it follows what's really in your heart. That's what I mean by sincerity, what's really, really in your heart. That's what you'll end up with. It really is. So there's not really a technique to this as much as just recognizing that what's really in your heart, what you really, really want, is really what you end up with. You see? So let's just imagine someone is, they're meditating or doing some practice and they come to me and they go, Adya, I feel so much bliss and love and joy and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I go, wonderful, I'm glad you're having this wonderful, positive experience. Now, can you tell me what you are? Well, no, I don't care what I am. I cared what I was yesterday, but you see, now that I'm experiencing all this bliss and love and openness, I don't care anymore. Now, see, for that person, if that's all they want, that's what they'll get. And I'm not even saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying that if all someone wanted was to feel really, really, really great, you can do spiritual practices that temporarily can make you feel extraordinarily good.
It's like medication.
Yeah, you can, exactly. Like anything else in life, you can use spirituality as medication or as something to open your eyes up, right? Mm-hmm. So that's, I love the way the word you used was wonderful. Yeah, you can use it to medicate yourself or you can use it to help yourself wake up. And I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't, worry about this as much. All I really say that, the only reason I say, that everything follows your sincerity is, number one, because it generally does. And number two, sometimes it just causes people just to reflect enough to just kind of go, hey, what's my yearning really, really for? And I find when people even really ask themselves that question, often what they yearn for is something even deeper than they were really conscious of or aware of. And it just kind of connects you back with your sincerity.
So there's not a danger in itself of doing a practice that makes you feel peaceful? No. Mm-mm. There's not a danger in and of itself to do that. No. In other words, it's not going to hijack your spiritual awakening unless that's the only thing you're in it for. One thing that happens to me a lot tends to be that I will do something that will get me, I'll reach, and it goes in cycles, and I'll reach an experience of feeling really peaceful or equanimous or something, and then it's usually followed pretty quickly by getting really arrogant and insensitive, and, then the crash.
Then the crash, yes.
So I didn't know if that was a sign that I was putting myself to sleep with the practice or if that's just normal cycle.
Well, I put it this way. If you had successfully put yourself to sleep with the practice, you wouldn't be calling me. Right, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Well, the arrogance is pretty painful,
Of course, it's pretty painful. Yeah. Of course, it's pretty painful. But I mean, if you were only in it to feel better, I don't think you'd be calling me up and talking to me about it. But I think a lot of people that are probably listening can, have had a similar experience. You can have. If you do certain spiritual techniques or practices, sometimes you can run into really, really great states. And when you run into a great state, your mind or your ego often makes an assumption. Hey, I have gotten somewhere. Yeah. I've achieved something. And then with that, kind of innocent conclusion, the arrogance begins,
Even now, since it's happened to me like a zillion times, now I'm really trying to be vigilant on the lookout for it. Like, okay, where's my arrogance? Where's it coming?
Yeah.
And it still gets me.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why I would just sort of reorient the trajectory, the way you approach it. And I mean, because you can also get sort of hyper vigilant about arrogance and about all these states that you don't think you're supposed to have or you don't want to have. You can do that, but really in the end, what I'm talking about comes out of a very simple observation that you've already had, and you can make any time you want, that any and every experience you have comes and goes, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
It all comes, it all goes. And sort of spiritual experiences are not immune from the law of impermanence. They also come and they also go. And that's just the way that experience is. It comes and it goes. Now, when you have a bad experience, you're glad that there is, the law of impermanence. You're glad that you kind of say, this will not last forever, this will go. But when it's really pleasant, most people want to hold on to it. But nonetheless, all experiences come, all experiences go. When you see that, when you realize you have an opportunity now. You can either continue to chase experiences or sustaining certain good experiences, or you can realize, hey, that's a losing game. You can't sustain something that by its very nature is impermanent. And anyway, it doesn't tell me anything about who it is that's having this experience. There's something more fundamental than whatever experience I'm having. And the thing that's always more fundamental is me. Do you see? Is the you who's having the experience. And then the you who's losing the experience. And the you who gets, arrogant. And then the you who's humbled by the arrogance. And see, all this sort of play can happen, and we remain completely oblivious to who this thing we call ourselves actually is. And really, what spirituality really is coming to a direct experiential realization of who and what you really are, who and what actually has these experiences. You see, and that's a different orientation to one's spiritual life. You're like, oh, I'm no longer asking, how can I have this experience, or how can I have more awareness, or how can I have anything? And I've gone to a little bit deeper place and looked at, hey, who is it that's having these experiences? Who is it that's trying to have them, or getting arrogant, or getting humbled, or who is this person that I call me that's always in the center of everything, or seems to be? And see, that kind of question leads you very quickly to the unknown. Right? Your mind, you realize that you really don't know. And then there's a stopping there. There's a invitation to stop right there. Don't create some false knowing in your mind, but you really stop. You stop and you begin to experience the mystery that you are.